2 weeks to start talking about things when we're going to have a legislature that's passing bills now?
That's right.
Well, those bills will not go into effect until 90 days after the
but once they're filed, we have a limited amount of time to initiate people's vetoes. And we have a bunch of people in this room right now who I'm sure are really interested in gathering signatures and making an effort to stop these people.
A suggestion on that, Count? Sure. I know Ed wanted me to talk later, and I want to be as brief as I can. I was supposed to give a legislative update, and I realize some people may leave, but I would just suggest that if you do need to leave, that you make sure to sign up, because, you know, do the math. It takes 60,000 signatures of registered Maine voters to repeal or to initiate, and that's frankly not a very high bar. If there are 600 people across Maine who are willing to say now and put it on, you know, maybe put it in writing on the email sign up that's over here on the counter, that you would be willing to get 100 signatures. If X, Y, or Z, or A, B, or C were to pass in the legislature, that's leverage now. That's leverage for what's going on in Augusta right now. Paul Gilbert is represented with me, and many of you have served in the legislature or run for legislature in the past, know that legislators listen, A, to their constituents, and B, to the reality of what's going to stand up come election time and what isn't. If there's 600 people who say now, in writing, I will go out and I will get 100 signatures, if any of these things come to pass and are signed by the governor, you've got leverage in a huge way. So I don't know who's going to run what and how things are going to be organized, and I'm happy to talk more about the legislative session and what's actually being proposed and what may or may not happen. But I think it's very important to if you do leave, to sign up and just make sure that you do stay in touch with everyone who's working very hard to make sure that good policies are passed ultimately and are protected. I know there's some great people in this room who have a lot to say who haven't been able to
I just wanted to direct my answer to this fellow's question, and correct me if I'm wrong, but even if a law passes tomorrow, it doesn't become law until 90 days after the session closes, and the session won't close until sometime in June. So that's when it becomes law. It would be September. So if it was to pass tomorrow, we would have enough time between now and 90 days after June to get our stuff.
And just to add to that you can't actually go out and collect the signatures until the end of June, until the legislature adjourns. So anything you're talking about here today, and I'm just here to advise you, is preparation for that moment. But I want to point out that if people are committed to getting 100 signatures, you get 600 of those people, that's leverage. For now, not for later, for now.
Do you have a fellow with a red coat on that's not his hand up for that?
Well, another thing that we can get into quite rapidly is that, for instance, I went through the state site. I got the home email address of every Democrat in the House, right? I don't know, 70 people or something like that. So if I put out a message, a newsletter, whatever, with one click, I can send that to every Democrat in the House. Except that they probably wouldn't look at it. I could do the same and send it to every Republican with 2 clicks. Now, what I'm proposing is that you get people who are willing to be organizers. An organizer would agree to have a list of perhaps 100 people. Now, 100 email names, it's not very many. I've got maybe 1,000 on my computer right today. I would say that invitations to this meeting went out to maybe 5,000 people, because I sent them to people, and they sent them to people who had lists, and organizations that sent them out. So to get this kind of thing around is not that difficult. But if you have an organizer who has 100 names, or I think one lady came in and said she had 200 or 300 or 400 names already on the list. If you send that, you set up a table You put the legislator's name and in a separate column, you put their home email address, right? You go down, you highlight it, you put it in the blind copy. Don't send it in the tube. Just put it in the blind copy. Every person that gets that email, they're the only one that knows that they got it. I mean, they don't see all your names. Over and over, I get things sent out that they don't put it in the blind copy. John sends me his list. I know all the people that John sends it to. If you put it in blind copy, everybody gets it separately. Okay. So if I send that table to an audience...
Excuse me, I think that you need to be moderated as well. There are other people who want to talk here, and you've had more than your share.
Okay.
And this is too important an issue. This young man says that we need to be active. We need to be proactive, not reactive.
Okay.
What's going on in my state of Maine is very dangerous. We've got to stop it. That's why these people are here today. They're very concerned. So let's give people a chance to talk.
I'm going to wind up and just say there's tremendous power if you know how to use it, the internet. The government in Egypt was just turned over, and the turnover was organized by 10 people. So, the lady told me to be quiet, and I
first of all, just so you people don't know me, my name is Stan Marsden. I'm the chair of the Democratic Party in Saco. I'm also the leader of the Saco Bay Democrats, which are all of the towns that are in that area. Saco, Old Orchard Beach, Bitterford, Hollis, a whole wide range of them. And what I'm addressing is the thing that came to mind as a result of what's happening in my neighborhood right now. And that is that we have a group of people who are going around now door to door, knocking and talking to everybody and asking them if they would like to help to be prepared to deal with Paula Page. The thing that's interesting, which leads to my question, we have as many Democrats and Republicans joining this group as progressives. I would suggest that we downplay the progressive side. We're talking about issues that are universal to all Mainers. And we need to broaden our own thinking about who needs to be involved in this.
I would like to say, to piggyback on that, sir. Oh, stop me if I ramble too long. Because I'm boiling here. The election was not stolen. Let's get that clear. I ran for the House of Representatives in District 82, which encompasses Winthrop and Reedfield. I stood at the polls from sunup to sundown. The election was not stolen. People voted. From 5:40 to 6:40 p.m., I called that the hour of death. Because in that hour, I saw more 30-ish to 40-ish white, blue-collar, construction, sole proprietor, you name it, walk through the doors of that polling place to vote for the first time in their lives. Yep.
Right.
Those are the people who gave us a Republican House, a Republican Senate, and a Republican governor. They voted for the first time in their lives. If we're not talking to them about what's real for them, we won't take back anything. And so we can't sit in rooms and preach to the choir anymore. We've got to get outside of our comfort zone, attend some Tea Party Patriot meetings if you must, because these are, I'm serious.
I do.
These people vote for me. And they voted for me because they thought I was the best man for the job. Although, in that hour of death, no less than 3 said to me, to my face, on the way out, dude, I had your back. I was all set to give you my vote, man. You were the one. But I got in and I saw that you were a Democrat and I just couldn't do it. So I stood there, can't say anything at the polls, and go, okay. And I'm thinking, it's not the hair, it's not the skin color, it's not the sachet, it's the party affiliation. Really?
Right.
That's what's up. These most of these men were unenrolled voters, like I said, who had never voted for the first time in their lives in this quote-unquote off-year election because they heard something, either on talk radio or from the media, about what needed to happen in this state so they could have jobs, so they could work without the burden of too many regulations on their small businesses. That's what's up, people. I'm a small business owner. I'm an organic farmer. I can talk about agriculture. I wasn't asked to, so I won't. But if we are not dealing with, not the environmental regulations, because I'm all for the environment. It's why I came to Maine 10 years ago, because of the light. But if we're not talking about the regulations that keep small business owners and sole proprietors jumping through barrels that they can't, over hoops they can't afford, we're going to continue to face this on election day. So we have got to stop talking to the choir and get out there and talk to 30-something and 40-something-year-old men who are working and get them on board. Otherwise, forget about it. That's all I have to say.